What's going on, YouTube family? This is Astinosis here, coming at you with another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are going to recap on the July/August stream. I'm joined today by my buddy Brother Hamslam, and he's going to be helping me kind of go over all this stuff. We have quite a bit to unpack. We have 17 slides if you include the kitty. That being said, let's go ahead and kick this off. As well, you were watching the stream and you saw the video. It should be available on YouTube and Twitter. We did get to see a preview of what Squall's burst and LD animations look like. That being said, you see them right here. This is them in all of their glory.
The time has come!
Yeah, it's hard to believe that we are in the burst era. Admittedly, I'm not sure I'm a fan of the way the burst weapon looks. Like, I want to like it, but at the same time, I feel like it looks kind of goofy, so to speak. What do you think?
Look at the bright side. I mean, for one, I'm okay with it. But there's gonna be a lot that probably disagree with it. This is the beautiful thing of our weapon skin thing, though. So you still want to get it, especially if you intend to use Squall. Yeah, you're probably gonna want to go for it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to point out is that comparing Squall to other burst characters is foolish. Yes, Squall is not a support character. We know this. He is a 100% damage per turn character. He does not give any utility. That does not mean that he's bad. He does a ton of damage. No, he's not getting his level 80 rework. That is 100% tied to his level 80. So no, you're not going to see the LD follow-up just yet. Does that mean that it's a waste to have him now? Absolutely not, because for one, he's going to be useful for the challenges, which we'll get up to in a second. But two, we have a certain lost chapter coming up that he would be very useful for because he's boosted. Imagine that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move. Oh, thing likes to take over. We'll move on to the LD weapon description. This basically works like the other weapons, except that it adds a lower use ability, a very powerful ability, and it does not require realization. It just requires power stones. So if you think about it, you're looking at, for any new character that has an LD, 48 power stones at maximum to get their weapons completely limit broken if you don't get any dupes.
Right.
And
it's a nice change of pace too that it's back to power stones, because ingots are so dang hard to come by as it is, making a lot of people have to pick and choose who they want to use. Not so much someone they want to use, but more like, okay, I've got this person's weapon, I know they're good, but I've only got so many ingots. Well, power stones were always technically easier to get than ingots by a long shot. So the fact that these LD weapons only require power stones, I think, is a wonderful thing.
Oh yeah, especially for people like me who have almost 500 power stones and need to get rid of some. Yeah.
Well, even people like myself, dude, who can barely hold on to a power stone to save his life.
Yeah.
I appreciate this, because I can always, if I absolutely need to, draw on a banner and throw weapons away that I don't need if I'm absolutely desperate. So, I mean, you can't do that to get an ingot. Well, we used to not be able to do that to get an ingot. More on that in a minute.
Alright, that being said, let's move on to the next slide with the burst weapon. Now, unlike the other weapons, this weapon does not require any MLB. You simply level it up to level 50, and then boom, you got it. Now, for those of you who like to be EX plus only weapons, I understand if you're a new player, but if you are going to do, if you only for whatever reason have the burst, don't be that guy and use that. Like, if you have the EX plus, use that one instead, because otherwise you are going to be severely gimped. If you want to make use of the burst weapon, you really need to have all of those passives, because if you think about it, when you enter burst mode, what are you going to use? You don't have any passives. I mean, you might be able to use the skill 1 and skill 2, but you're going to use a very weak version of it. So what good is that to you? You're not going to do a whole lot of damage with that. So try to get all the weapons if you're going for them. Now, that being said, the LD is the true prize of these banners. The burst is a very nice icing on the cake bonus that will provide you a boon, and eventually they're going to be more necessary, but we're not anywhere near that stage yet.
I'm really glad you brought that up. Yeah, burst weapons, fantastic. They are definitely the most powerful weapons, but let's also bring up another point. Only certain characters get access to bursts, at least for now. So not everybody's going to be able to get a burst. So if you get them, great. But in a way, and I was discussing this with you, I believe, it's not too long ago. If I pull a burst, but I don't have a person's LD, I feel like I'm obligated to go for the LD at that point, which could make me start pulling on things I necessarily didn't want to pull for. Yeah. So it's a bit of an interesting situation because, yeah, sure, there's the whales out there that can just throw insert number of money here and get what they want. There's a lot of people that can't do that. I'm raising my hand because I'm one of them. So
I definitely can't.
I mean, the basic what we're both trying to say. If you get the LD and you can't get the burst, and you have everything else on a character in question, the character is very, very much still usable.
Yep.
If you had to pick, I think we both agree the LD is more important than the burst, even though the burst is more powerful. The burst is best if you have both. Yes. If you don't, things get interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, again, like I said, LD is the true prize because you get more use out of it. Burst is simply a bonus. It's a very strong bonus, but it's not what you really want to aim for. Not to mention,
it's an extremely strong bonus because, think of the burst as like an extra summon wave, pretty much.
Pretty much. And now, for those of you that didn't miss the stream, the way the schedule looks like, for the initial Squall Burst period, and I really don't understand why they didn't just say it was Shantoto next, because...
Yeah, I mean, we all, most of us already know that, so spoilers, Shantoto's the other one, but go on.
Unless they try and throw us another curveball and switch things up again like they have done to us in the past. I don't see why they would do that with Burst, per se, but... So we are looking at them overlapping because they will be available together. Does that mean that both burst weapons will be available on the same banner? Absolutely not.
No, not at all.
That being said, for example, when you're looking at Squall's LD and burst availability, now here's where it gets a little bit more forgiving. Say you pull on that banner and you luck sack that LD and you're not really interested in pulling some more at risk of maybe getting Troll EX weapons, because they are increased. We'll go look at that in a sec. But if you look at the next banner LD, so for us, it's an upcoming Lost Chapter who's getting an LD weapon. Squall's Burst will be on that banner, so if you wanted to have a chance at both a brand new LD and a Burst weapon, that's a fantastic option to go for. And it works that way for all Burst banners moving forward. The featured character getting that burst will have the LD on a particular banner, and then after that, they share their burst banner on the other character's LD banner.
Which I love that, considering the rather small rate for burst weapons, which we'll get into that more in a moment.
Oh yeah, and then if you're looking at stat comparisons. And again, this is where we said a little bit ago that the burst weapon does have the highest stats. There's no question about it. It does have the highest stats. That does not mean, once again, that it's the best one to have out of all of them. If you have all their gear, yes, absolutely. Like if I were to luck sack the LD and the burst, I already have everything else. My Squall is purple, built up, ready to rock and roll. Boom, I would sell the LD after MLBing it, equip his burst, level it to 50, bam, I'm fucking set to kick some ass.
I would like to piggyback on that statement. Yes, if you have everything, there is no question the burst is the best way to go.
Yes. That's assuming, again, must stress this, that you have the passives for the EX Plus and the LD. That being said, if you have that luxury, there is something that we didn't get to do with the EX Plus before that is coming up. So if you're looking at the CP here, by far, Burst has 20 more CP than the EX Plus, and of course the highest attack. Now,
yes.
If we move on to the draw rates, now, I am not a math person, so I look at this and my eyes glaze over and I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? Other people, like Brother Hamslam here, have a bit of a better understanding of what's going on. What I do know is that the burst weapon rate sucks ass.
I can actually go into this a little bit if you'll allow me. I kind of did some calculations outside of preparing for this. So I'll just go down the list then, with your permission. So, okay, let's just talk about the good stuff first together, shall we?
Yep.
Off banners, goodbye, forever, thank God. We all love it, let's be real. 2, yes, bye. Get out of here, we're tired of seeing you. The amount of times I have been cucked from an off-banner weapon, and I'm pretty sure anybody watching this, listening to this, whatever, can relate. So, hallelujah, everybody! Start singing, praise the sun, everybody! They're gone!
And they saw all my oof banners during my terrible month of June.
So, I wanted to get that out of the way excitedly. Okay, so our EX base rate, in truth, has been pretty nice. Well, it's about to get even nicer. So, a 0.5%, if you're using only tickets, 140 tickets gave you a 50% chance. So, now that chance is even better, and you require less tickets to do so. So, and then of course, RNG, we all know that this is all speculation. I'm just basing it off of a probability thing that I use quite often when I'm preparing for banners. I calculated the burst rate, man, and just to have a 25% chance off of tickets for the burst weapon, you need 300 tickets. So, yeah, if you really badly want a burst weapon, it's probably best you use your gems. Because the chances of you getting it off of tickets, it's there, but it's not the greatest. If you're trying to specifically do it off of tickets, you might be disappointed. If you're okay with that, and I'm probably in that boat in truth, I'll be honest, there's one banner upcoming in the future that I'm actually going to take a shot with tickets because I just cannot afford to do the gems. Who knows, I might get lucky.
You're talking about
there's
Noctis,
that.
aren't you?
I am actually not. I'm talking about Warrior of Light.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm very interested in getting his burst, but I know his LD is the true prize. So yeah.
Now, I have actually heard some JP players say that tickets is actually better to pull on, unless you want to guarantee yourself the weapon, and you have the gem stash for it. Then by all means, hopefully you get it before you reach 125k gems. Because I believe that's the new pity rate.
Well, in case yes, for the burst weapon, it's 125k, and I may have worded it wrong a few moments ago. But I basically agree with your sentiment. Like, if you know you want it, the gems are the way. If you can live without it, the tickets are the way.
Yeah. And also, there's no more silver orbs. I think that was mentioned in this slide, or maybe it was another slide. But no more silver orbs. It'll either be a... is it on this? Maybe they just said it, but yeah, no more silver orbs. It's either going to be a blue orb or a gold orb. And if it's a gold orb, it's a guaranteed EX.
Okay, so that is still the case, because I know in Japan a gold orb meant guaranteed EX, but I did not remember if it said it anywhere during the stream today, so...
Actually, I take that back. I think it's, at minimum, you're getting an EX. It could potentially still be an LD or a burst.
That is true. I think you're right in saying that. But yeah, I mean, the burst token, you know, burst weapons, me personally, especially not really able to just throw money at the game at will, if I've got 300 tickets to have a shot at the burst weapon with a 25% chance, yeah, I could do that. So, I mean, in truth, I mean, because, let's be real, any kind of random summon board we do is like 350, 400 tickets nowadays.
Yep.
There's you a shot at the burst right there. We still have a legitimate shot at even getting just a couple of bursts just by playing the game normally. So it's not the end of the world by no means. So anyway, let's get back to these rates. I kind of took us off topic. So yeah, the 0.1% for the burst weapon, 3% if it's part of the +1 multi. And then let's see what we got here. So the LD weapon gets the rate of our current EX. Current as of, well, July 27th, which won't last much longer. So, and then of course EX gets that boost. I've heard it basically be said that EX basically starts coming like candies, which, hey, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically all I have to say about that, bro.
I unfortunately am not going to be okay with the boon to the EX, because that means I'm going to see a lot of dupes on banners that I should have just let go.
Yeah, you are.
Like Kamari and Barrett. Oh wait, Barrett's not coming back around anytime soon. Anywho.
Not to my knowledge.
So as we mentioned, what we were not able to do before, moving on to the next slide, is currently, like, say for those of you who decided that you wanted to fully realize an MLB a EX Plus weapon, you were unable to sell it. Now you can sell it back for essentially the same value as what you could with the MLB normal weapon from Power Stones, but instead of the Power Stones, you're getting back the same basically the same amount of nuggets. So whereas it would take you 4 stones per MLB, now it's going to be instead 5 nuggets. So you'll get, for a fully realized weapon, you get 20 nuggets.
Which, and honest to God, dude, I am okay with this.
Yeah, 1 ingot. So like say for example, if there's I mean, there probably aren't too many people that can say this other than those with dupes, but if you had an EX Plus character that you never use, you regret purpling, you could just sell it. Sell it for a nugget, an ingot, rather.
Or in the case of me, you were desperate for an ingot, you had a spare weapon that you knew you weren't going to use,
yep.
But you use it to get the ingot. Well, if you don't need that weapon, sure, it's only 5 nuggets, but if you've got a few weapons laying around, that adds up pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
And with it being such a rare resource, I'm all yes, please, thank you. I'll take anything I can get my hands on, personally.
Oh yeah. And then the next big thing, which plays into another amazing announcement that we had, is earning additional points based on your player rank. For newer players, you're not going to see as much of a change right away until you start earning your characters and getting them built up. But for those of us who are seasoned and maxed everybody out, like me, I'm the max rank on 904, so 140% boost. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I like that very much. I don't really understand the point of the Memorial Theater thing. I mean, I guess it's just maybe a few players felt it was clunky or something. I'd have to look at it to see what the heck it's referring to, because that's not something that I messed around with, and when I briefly checked out JP for Freedom's Burst, because I can't read it anyway. I do really like the daily missions combined into one, because say if there's a day I don't really feel like using a book or a tomb or whatever to do 5 co-ops, I can just do 1 and be done. To me, I like that. It's great.
Yes, a million times yes. I have nothing else to say about this other than yes.
And then along the note of the extra points, we have the Moogle Pass finally, which...
Finally!
Mog Pass for short. Now, here's where you get a lot of players who might be like, oh, it's pay to win, pay to win. You know what? It's $5. It's not like you're spending $15, $20, $30 a month to have... you're talking double character board points, and this is something that I've had to clarify with a few people, because they thought that just meant that you gained double the points and it's still capped at 5k. No, this means that per event you can go back, and this is retrograded, mind you, so when this becomes active, you can go back to Charlotta's LC, earn another 5,000 character board points, and then also go back and do more trade co-ops and still also build up for another 5,000. So if you have this active, this means that every single event you can max out 2 characters.
This is huge. Like $5, and this is not just like a couple of day thing, folks. This lasts an entire 30 days. Mm-hmm. It'll carry you. And this is just my opinion. The enhancement points alone, the fact you can get 10,000 instead of 5,000 alone makes this worth it. But on top of that, more summon points, more wild points, the fact that it lasts as long as it does, it's wonderful. And $5 in truth, I know there are people that cannot do it, and I understand.
Yeah, that's fair.
But a lot of people can, and it is nothing to them to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it saves you time too. Like you can, if a new character comes out, you can max their boards super fast. Whereas right now it takes probably roughly a couple hours, depending on how fast you go.
I mean, let's factor that in. Even without like synergy, for instance, you're still going to be going way quicker than we ever did before.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you got the X2 synergy, well, I've had people tell me in Japan, max rank, you could literally do a person in like 1-2 runs per board. Bam, done.
Yep.
That's pretty huge.
And for the crazies like me who go and max every single board ASAP upon the release of Ultimate Summons, this will make that far less painful for me. Excuse me.
And for people like me who just cannot really do it in one day, this gives me the ability to do it in one day. So this thing is quite good for everyone.
Oh yes. And then on top of that, we have the Moogle Pass Premium. Now, here's the best part about the Mog Pass Premium is that the first one is absolutely free. So not only do you get the what happens with the original, so 2.5 times the game with the double character boards, 2.5 times on the wild points and the summon points. Now here's where there's a little bit of confusion, and we were talking about this previous to doing this recap. Is the bonuses are the EX power tokens, which is probably one of the bigger boons to this, because if you think about it, I believe a new EX weapon from those tokens is 10. So that means
that's correct.
If you say, for example, you luck sack somebody's LD, you don't have their EX, you don't have the resources to build them yet, but you want to build them, you could potentially skip pulling and then guarantee yourself their EX once you have the power tokens, because the new EX shop is going to have every single one on the banner. That's very important. And then
wait, what was that? What'd you say?
Every EX weapon that's introduced will be in the shop.
Yes, people, he did not stutter. That's everyone up to where we are currently at. That includes events we just passed that usually take a long time to come back. From what I understand, that is the case. I could be wrong. Please correct me if I am.
I should rephrase. Once the event expires, they are then added, as far as I know.
Okay.
But what the shop that we are going to see when this becomes active, as far as I know, because there are no new EX weapons coming out with this new banner with the Squall, because every one of them has had the banner released, but every single weapon up to this point when it initially comes, after that it's probably, actually, you know what, it might even be a monthly thing. It might update every month. I don't know the rate at which it updates, but the long and short of it is, if you missed an EX weapon, you will be able to buy it.
Yes.
On top of that, there are gems. This one giving more gems than the other. And now, the Moogle tokens is where there's some confusion, even from me. Like, I was under the impression that you could only buy 5 for the month, and that's it. 5 burst tokens, along with the other options. Matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and move on to that, because
let's do that.
There's really nothing more to talk about with that. So,
yeah, this actually confused me, and it only proved just how bleh I've been today, so oops.
Yeah, so you can bank up to 10 of those Moogle medals, or whatever the hell they're called, Moogle tokens. Now, I was under the impression...
You can only... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so I was under the impression that you were going to only... I thought it was going to be 2 of those Moogle tokens for the burst tokens, times 5. In reality, you can get 10 burst tokens, which means in 5 months, say there's, like, for me, for example, I want to guarantee myself, I plan to go all in on Furian's burst banner when it finally comes. If I were to luck sack the LD on that free pool, assuming we have a free pool, or even just on some tickets or multis, I save up them burst tokens. I have plenty of time because he's due, say, roughly January. I can just buy his burst at that point because I have. That's assuming, of course, that you have this as an example. Or if you spend the 2 that you get monthly, then you can simply get yourself a book. So it really depends on what you're looking to build. Once again, the burst weapons are currently a very nice commodity. Eventually they will do more. We're not going to get into that though, because that's so far in the future. And then, as we mentioned earlier, 50 burst tokens for a burst weapon guarantees you that weapon. And then here's the EX shop. As it says, weapon book, power stones as well added. Previously those were not there. And
that is true.
All EX weapons added. And like I said, I don't know the rate at which it happens, but as far as I can recall, every weapon that ever gets released, EX-wise, is added to that store. So potentially...
And in truth, for those who can safely afford it, the burst is nice, and it's a lot better than I initially thought, because again, I need to learn how to read. But the EX is actually not bad. 2 months, and you can have an EX of your choice. Like, for someone like me who just, again, when I'm able to, I try to put my little fundage into the game. And this is nice, because I don't have every EX, unlike somebody. So there's several I would like to have, and there's my option to get them.
Yeah, and like, for as an example, and this is for a character coming up that I really want, but it's a character that you don't absolutely need on your roster. The character functions just fine as a support. If I were to get, say, Luxac the LD, but not the EX, I might consider not pulling anymore. Simply because I could just guarantee myself the EX later on. Chances are, though, with the upgraded rate to the EX weapons, I'll likely end up getting it. And that being said, let's move on. So, with the burst...
Actually, if I may, I have one final thought about the Mog Pass.
Okay.
This is my opinion. Please, everybody, take us with a grain of salt. Don't feel like you have to go for the $37 or something Mog Pass. The $5 one is amazing for what it offers. It is more than worth the spending. The $37 thing, it's nice. It really is, in my opinion. It's got some good things. But, I mean, not everybody's going to be able to get it. Heck, I'm not going to be able to get it all the time. There's no way. Life before the game. That's just how it is. But even I will be totally willing to find a way to make $5 appear out of nowhere for the effects that it offers. Now again, obviously if you can't do it, don't do it. I mean, your life is always more important as opposed to the game. But if you have the ability, the $5 Mog Pass just does so much, and it's not expensive at all. And that's my final thought about the Mog Pass.
On that note, I think I've already said this before, but I personally don't believe that takes away from the whole free-to-play, by the way. Like, don't be dumb. If you can do it, do it. Like, otherwise you're just, like I said earlier, you're selling yourself short, and you're preventing yourself from maxing 2 character boards instead of just 1. So.
And again, if you can't, don't. I get that all too well, too.
Yeah,
Trust me when I say I do.
If you're absolutely gonna get strapped on your, playing your real life bills and such, then obviously that takes precedence. But
100%.
Now, moving on, we have the raid event coming with this, and this will be Cosmos co-op. I don't recall them saying this, but I believe from now on we get Cosmos co-op for every single event moving forward. This will have 2 banners. I don't remember all the characters. I believe one is with Orin and Steiner. Orin getting his rework.
Orin is the big one because he's got a rework coming, from what I understand.
That was not actually on the slides. Interesting.
I thought we had one that said that, but apparently we do not.
So that actually potentially means that they could change things up on us for this one. Maybe.
It sure does.
So I'm just going to refrain from moving further on what the banners are going to look like, other than the fact that both the Burst and LD are on each banner, and the first multi-draw is free. So, hey, you never know. You might Luxac both on each one, or whatever. I don't know. And then, of course, the Squall's costume is ready to rock and roll. And then with that, it will have a, a Chaos version of the fight. And then when you complete the Chaos version the first time, you will unlock the challenge quest. With the challenge quest, there's no supports allowed, and in order to get the true reward of the burst token, you have to use only the synergy characters. This could be hard for a lot of people that don't have all the characters.
That would be myself.
Part of me does feel like, at minimum, Squall's LD will basically be required. I don't know. I've not seen this fight or done it. But I will absolutely go for it and try to. And you can still get a clear for some rewards, but as far as I know, but you can only get the burst token if you get a perfect using the boosted characters.
Yes, that's correct, I believe.
Now
Like, I believe you can clear it for some gems and some tickets, I believe is what was said on stream. I could be wrong on that. But yes, like you mentioned, in order to get the burst token, just one, mind you, you have to get the perfect.
Yep. And then moving on, we have actually touched up a little bit on these characters, talking about the LC and the next event. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Garland is back. It actually feels like just yesterday, but it also feels like it was so long ago that Garland first debuted.
It feels like it's been forever, 100%. It's like, oh wow, it's Garland. I totally forgot about him. And unfortunately, I really have. I barely use him, which bites because I like this kit.
Yeah, and Squall's Burst, as I mentioned earlier, if you were to Luxac his LD and you didn't feel like going for the burst on those banners because you don't want to risk dupes if you have them already, you could potentially wait until this banner comes out, and then maybe you get him while going for Garland's LD. I don't know. And once again, if you were to get Garland's LD but not Squall BT on that one, then he's still also featured on the Amita Telian banner. Now, the only thing that sucks about this is I don't think either of these come with the free pool, unfortunately, which it is what it is.
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. That being said, we are also going to get the tier 14 for Dimensions End. I've not really done much research on what this fight looks like. I do know, as is mentioned here, that the fight is tough against range and there's mixed elemental resistances. I'm not exactly sure which ones off the top of my head. And then of course they got the Brave regen on wave 1 and the high turn rate on wave 2. So to me, it sounds like the turn rate is typically like if they break you, so probably a good idea maybe to bring some kind of tank. Melee is good here, magic is good here. I'm actually considering of parking at minimum Garnet and Call of Booty at this point. We will go back to the Piss Plate temporarily until you get back up to tier 14 with that perfect. And then of course it will give us the usual, I believe it actually amounts to 2 ingots with a perfect.
Right.
And that's just weapon ingots. I'm not including the armor ingots. I think I could be
wrong. I believe is 2 as well. Could be wrong on that number though.
Yeah. And moving forward, and this is one rework that I'm also looking forward to, and I hope I have the goddamn ingots to build Alizé.
Oh, I'm going to.
Now, this is where we were saying that we're 90% certain it's going to be Shantoto, but given the monsters on it, it is entirely possible that the likelihood is it's going to be Shantoto, because these dickheads, like especially the stupid behemoths and that goddamn boss from Alizé's original event, they changed their shit based off resistances, and Shantoto
all of my hate.
Yes. What sucks for me here is that I have Shantoto. Obviously, I don't have her LD or BT, but I will, unless I plan to legit just build her instead of others. And I've seen somewhere Shantoto with at least LD can cheese some shit. For me, she's only base EX 3-3. Alizé, on the other hand, like, man, that's one that I want to prioritize. She can now. Before people get their, heads in a knot, whatever, like go crazy. Yes, she can solo some chaos fights. Do not rate characters on whether they can solo. That is dumb. Solo is really more for flexing purposes, or like say you have a low roster in entropy and you kind of need to. Okay, that's fine, but just because a character isn't built for soloing doesn't mean they're not as good as a character that can solo. Because a lot of those characters that can solo also don't always perform that well in a group. For example, Call of Booty is very slow in a group setting. She is still strong and holds her weight, but you find your other characters pulling their weight more. Whereas, say for example, if you saw my Alex recording, yeah, Call of Booty shine there because she's not fighting for turns. She's just setting herself up.
With that said, LSA is an instant 3-3 max for me. Like, instantaneous. I'm looking forward to this rework something fierce. I would like to do Auron as well, but if I gotta pick between the two, oh, her, hands down. Then I'm putting the twins together in the same party and going to town.
They're going to be fighting each other for turns, and that's going to be hilarious.
And it will be awesome, and I will enjoy it.
And we're coming to the end of this recap, which, wow, we've actually been going for almost 40 minutes now.
Oh yeah, dude, we've been here a minute.
Now this is the event that I was referring to, or excuse me, lost chapter that I was referring to, where were you to get both Squall's LD and burst weapons, he will be boosted in this fight. If you recall, when Ultimecia first debuted, this is also when Squall originally got his realization, so just saying and all. Doesn't mean that, now don't get me wrong, this does not mean that you need to use Squall or pull for him. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is there's an added bonus to having that new gear on this last chapter, because the next burst weapon character will also be featured on this. So one or the other and you're basically good to go. Because remember, you can really, if I recall correctly, you can only use one burst effect per battle.
I am not sure on that. I think you are correct, however.
That will likely change once we go to the next era, but that's a ways away. And then, you know, I know they play dumb on stream, but that's obviously douche. I mean, excuse me, Desh. I prefer calling him douche. It actually makes me mad that he's in this game, because he's in Final Fantasy III for not even an hour. And I won't spoil it, but it irritates me. Like, he's just a guest character. He's barely there for very long. But I will admit that his kit in this game is very strong. I don't remember exactly what it does. I think it has some stuns involved with it, and also I believe some imperils. But from what I've been told by a lot of JP players, he's absolutely worth your tickets and gems.
I'll just concede to that information. So, yeah.
Especially considering that we will eventually be entering the Lufenia stage. And of course, Onion Knight's alternate costume, if you missed out on it before, it is going to be available then. And that being said, the final slide is, once again, I keep forgetting what his cat's name is, but I've managed to get a perfect shot of the cat looking up at him like, why? So that being said, my final thoughts are, holy shit, we're in the Burst LD era. I have way too many characters that I need to build. I don't have the resources, and I'm referring to purpling the characters that I want. So this is going to be a very tough month for me. With that being said, Ham, your final thoughts?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Burst and LD era. Let's all have some fun. Let's all enjoy it. Let's not take it too seriously. I mean, it's still a game after all. But let's all hope that we get what we want and have a lot of fun doing so. I'm, quite frankly, excited. This is going to get very interesting, and knowing me, if I get something I don't expect, I'll be killing a lot of my friends' ears. Sorry in advance, Asti. So, I mean, I look forward to it. It's kind of an exciting time. The game's going on strong, and I look forward to seeing what comes in the future.
And let's pray for all the luck sacks. All the luck sacks, no pities for anyone, except for Gem.
Yeah, and good luck to everybody except for Jim about your going for Squall. Because I know a lot of people, especially after they saw what the second rework gave, are extremely excited to go for it now. And I know a lot of people are. There are just as many that are like, "Oh, he sucks." Blah, blah, blah. No, that's fine. There's more than enough that will happily go for him. I know plenty that are excited for him, and I'll tell you right now, if I get him for free, you think I'm gonna not use him? No, I'll max him. No questions asked.
Oh hell yeah! I just don't know how deep I'm willing to go because, admittedly, that rework with the boards definitely made me more inclined to want to pool. Because he's absolutely not a bad character. I'm sick and tired of people saying that about his burst in LD. Like, that just says that people don't know what they're doing with him. So, anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. I know it went a bit long, but, you know, we tend to get our energy into it and have a lot of fun with this. So, that being said, this is Nasty Asty signing off.
Good night.